What's good YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. You can call me JD, and in this video we are going to be talking about sneaker resale in 2021. So thank you guys so much for sending in your questions on Instagram on what were the sneaker resale topics that were most important to you. I grouped all these questions together because a lot of them were pretty similar. So the topics I will be covering in this video, first of all, what's gonna happen with the sneaker resale for Nike Dunks? That seemed to be the #1 question that most of you had, so we will be talking about that. We'll also get into what are some sneaker trends that I see in 2021, as well as what are some potential sneakers that are good investments this year. We'll also be talking about how long you should be holding sneakers, whether or not the pandemic has had an effect on sneaker resale, and some other topics as well, so make sure you guys watch this entire video. Before we get into the video, I wanted to share with you guys a brand new way of investing not just in sneakers, but also in some other assets such as Pokemon cards and trading cards. And that is with Otis. They are the sponsor of today's video, and I am super excited about this app because I'm always looking for ways to invest in alternative assets. So Otis is an alternative investing platform that makes it possible for anyone to invest in shares of cultural assets. You can buy and sell shares of rare and high-priced collectibles and sneakers, as well as art. And it's super simple. You just download the app, you sign up for free, and you can start buying shares directly from Otis or from other members on the app. And you can earn a potential return by selling these shares back to other members on the app, or if Otis basically sells the product for a higher price than what you paid for the shares. So I'm honestly really excited about this product because a lot of us, including myself, we would have loved to invest in things such as a 1985 pair of Jordan 1s, or even any of the original 10 sneakers from the Off-White collection. But of course, the prices of these products are so high that I simply can't afford them. But what Otis lets you do is it lets you buy shares in the product, which I can definitely afford. Some of my absolute favorite investing opportunities on the app include, of course, like I mentioned, the original Off-White, the 10. You could also invest in basketball trading cards such as a LeBron James rookie card, even a Steph Curry rookie card. And for fans of Pokemon cards, you could even buy shares in a 1999 edition Venusaur. It's a really cool concept and a very useful app in my opinion, and definitely something that I will be taking advantage of. So go ahead and sign up for Otis using the link in my description, and you will get your first share for free when you fund your account. With that being said, let's get into the topic of today's video, and that is all of the important questions that you want answered for sneaker resale in 2021. One of the major lessons that I learned last year from sneaker resale is that the resale game is pretty much pandemic proof. I was basically wrong. I thought that because of the pandemic, people won't be as interested in sneakers, that we would see prices start to come down. But that actually didn't happen at all. In fact, it doesn't matter what sneaker you had last year. If you held on to it, chances are you made pretty good money on it. There are definitely some exceptions like SB Dunks, but for the most part, pretty much any sneaker you held on to went up in value, whether that be Jordan 1s or 4s, even Jordan 1 mids. But going into this year, the absolute #1 question on you guys' mind is what is gonna happen with sneaker resale with Nike Dunks? We all know last year was definitely the year of the dunk. If you managed to cop any dunk for retail, you were able to profit very, very nicely. A lot of the SB Dunks were selling for almost 10 times the retail price. And the peak of this hype was around the summertime. It was also around then we got several of the hype SB releases. But since then, we have seen the average price of resale dunks start to come down just a little bit. Some of the lessons that I've learned from last year's experience is definitely that a lot of the dunks, they seem to be at their highest moment of hype right around after the release. Like the Ben & Jerry's, like the Travis Scott's, like the Civilist dunks. We've seen these prices actually start to come down instead of going up. For some of these SB dunks, the initial resale prices were over $1,000. And the problem with that is at that price range, there's a very select group of people who could actually afford that. So we've learned that it doesn't actually make much sense to hold on to these dunks unless you're planning to hold it for at least 5 or 10 years. You might see something like the SB Dunk Paris effect where the prices suddenly go to like 20K 10 years from now. But if you have like a 1 or 2 year time horizon, it really doesn't make much sense to hold these SB Dunks. You're better off just selling it right away, get that maximum profit possible. But let's talk about the non-SB Dunks, because in 2021, Nike is going to be absolutely flooding the market with these. Already here in Europe, we've had 5 different colorways released in the first month alone. And the resale prices on them, they're honestly not doing that great compared to some of the Dunks we saw last year. And quite honestly, that is to be expected. affected. If Nike is gonna absolutely flood the market with much more quantity, make a lot more stores actually have these sneakers, of course we're gonna see prices start to come down. They won't be as high as like we saw last year with the Syracuse and Kentucky. I don't think any of these general release dunks from this year are gonna be even close to the resale prices of those Syracuse pairs. And as I said in my review of this one, the Nike Dunk High Vast Gray, it looks like the quality on the general release pairs this year are just very, very poor compared to the dunks we saw last year, the special release. But usually, at least when it comes to resale, it doesn't look like quality has too much of an effect on resale prices. For example, the Jordan 1 Mochas, that pair is just brutal when it comes to quality, but it is reselling for a lot higher than most of the recent Jordan 1s. So what I see actually happening with the regular release dunks this year, even though they have bad quality, it really just comes down to the colorway. If it's a really nice colorway, for example, the Coast colorway that just dropped, or some of the other dunk lows we're gonna see this year, like this yellow pair and this kind of like a sage green pair, these kind of colorways I see doing very well, whereas some of the more harder to wear, kind of plainish looking colorways, I don't see them doing that well. So it's not a seller's market anymore where basically any dunk is gonna have high resale. I think it's gonna really come down to the colorway this year. It's much more of a buyer's market. I got some questions about whether all the dunks flooding the market this year are gonna affect dunks that dropped last year. I don't see that happening. All of the dunks that dropped last year were special release dunks that pretty much just dropped on the Nike Sneakers app, as well as select boutique retailers. Very limited supply there, so I don't see any of the prices there being affected by dunks dropping this year. And not only that, any of the special release dunks we'll see dropping this year, for example, we have the upcoming Nike Dunk Low in the Curry colorway. I don't see resale being affected on these pairs as well. I see resale still being pretty high on them. If we look at some of the dunks that dropped late last year, pretty much the only ones that are still going up in price are pairs like the ceramics, like the veneers. These are the nice collector's item type of dunks that I personally don't think will be affected at all with all the flooding of Nike dunks happening this year. Those are the ones that in my opinion would continue being good investments. So yeah, just to summarize all of my dunk reselling predictions. So SB dunks, I would personally sell right away and not hold on to them. The special release Nike dunks, those continue to be good investments even this year. And finally, these GR pair regular ones, I don't think these are gonna be good investments. And in fact, some of them might even sit as we move on to the end of the year. Moving on to the second topic that a lot of you guys wanted to hear about, what are some sneaker trends that I think will happen in 2021? And also what are some good sneakers to possibly invest in this year? I have two answers for that. The first one is not specifically a sneaker. It's definitely, in my opinion, the biggest trend going on right now in the sneaker market. And that is the rise of the female sneakerhead. And I do get a lot of females watching my videos, and no, I'm not saying that you guys never existed before. I'm just saying there's a lot more of you now. I've seen that in my own friend circle, girls I know who never wear sneakers. They're all of a sudden trying to, cop Jordans and Dunks. My girlfriend too has been asking me to cop her some Jordan 1s. If you check out any fashion account on Instagram, even any fashion influencers on TikTok right now, the female ones, they're all wearing sneakers right now, which is why last year, some of the absolute best sneaker investments have actually been things like Jordan 1 mids in the base sizes, also Jordan 1 lows. These were sneakers that weren't that difficult to get. They released at pretty much any store that sold sneakers. And because they're mids and lows, they have a much lower retail price. So the profit margin on these sneakers were actually much higher than the profit margin on even some super special sneakers app only release. For example, this is the Jordan 1, I believe it's called the Barely Orange. This was a colorway that I was very confident would be popular with the ladies, so I invested pretty heavily in this model. And the prices now are basically 300% profit in any size, and that's just a couple of months later. And this is definitely the #1 trend that will continue in 2021. The sneaker market for girls is nowhere near the sneaker market for guys right now, so there is a lot more room to grow there. So that is my absolute #1 tip for 2021. Invest in the base sizes, Jordan 1 mids, Jordan 1 lows, even Jordan 4s, also the Dunk lows. The base sizes, definitely where the money's at, and that will continue to happen for the rest of the year. As far as silhouettes go, which silhouette do I think is gonna be the next Dunk? A lot of people were asking me that question. You really kind of got to look at what Nike is trying to promote in order to answer that question. And based on all of these scheduled releases for the rest of the year, it looks like Nike is really promoting the Jordan 4 this year. We have some absolutely amazing colorways coming up, like the taupe haze, and also that university blue colorway. We'll also be seeing the lightning coming out later in the year. I also feel like people are kind of tired of wearing so many colorways of just Jordan 1s, so I kind of see 4s being the next big thing. They are already pretty popular, but I think they will continue to do very well in 2021. Next topic I got from you guys is how long should you be holding sneakers? When is the right time to cut your losses? And what I'm about to say right now is advice that you can use not just for sneakers. I personally use this advice even when I'm investing in stocks. When you're deciding whether to hold or sell something, you gotta ask yourself, is this the absolute best use of my money right now? Or are there some other investing opportunities? Are there some other sneakers? Are there some better stocks that I could be investing right now with this money that's kind of just stuck right here? And if that answer is yes, then don't be afraid to cut your losses, because you're definitely more than gonna make it up with how fast this other opportunity is gonna go up by, instead of just like holding on to it, hoping that one day it might go up. In the meanwhile, while you were waiting for that to happen, this other opportunity right here has gone up 2 or 3 times as much. So you missed out on those sneakers just because you didn't want to take like a $20 or $50 loss on your other sneaker. And that's just the wrong way to look at it. It's always opportunity cost. Is there any other investment out there that is a better use of my money right now than what I'm holding on to? I made a video back in July of last year where I talked about how I am selling almost all of the sneakers that I was holding on to and instead putting that in Bitcoin. If you watched that video, I talked about why I was doing that. And now I'm up like 300% on that investment. So yeah, it definitely was a good decision looking back at it. The next topic you guys want to hear about is how is the pandemic affecting the sneaker market, how it will continue to affect the market this year. Of course, I can't say the name of this pandemic because then this video will get demonetized, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So as I said in the beginning, last year proved that the sneaker resale game was definitely pandemic proof. People were still buying shoes. And going into this year, what I see happening is there's going to be like, the year is going to be kind of split into two. Most countries in the Western Hemisphere are currently in lockdown, and the lockdown is supposed to last several months in some cases, but it is expected that by the summertime, the vaccine will be handed out to most people and we should be kind of resuming normalcy going into the summer. And that is when I see a huge boom probably happening in the sneaker market. People honestly cannot wait to go outside, cannot wait to go back to living a normal life. I'm definitely one of those people. I can't wait to go traveling again. I can't wait to rock some of these dope sneakers that I bought last year. So yeah, that's basically my prediction. The first half of the year probably going to be kind of slow for sneakers, but the second half, especially around June time, that is when I see a pretty big bump in the sneaker resale game. So if you guys have the capacity, have the funds to be able to hold on to shoes until the summertime, I think it's gonna be well worth it. Couple more questions. People asking about Yeezys. Are Yeezys dead? How do you bring the hype back on Yeezys? So no, I don't think overall Yeezy hype is dead. I think certain silhouettes are definitely dead, like the 350 for example, and obviously the 380s. I think Yeezy brand did something very smart with the 700s, and that is bringing down the retail price. I think that will kind of help the sneakers sell out more. But because we're indoors, it looks like other Yeezys, like the slides, like the foam runners, that is where the real money's at. And this year too, I don't see most Yeezy models being very good holds because the retail price on Yeezys is pretty high and it's just not worth holding on to it in most cases. There are some colorways that are worth holding on to, like the breads we saw drop last month. But other than that, if you just want to hold on to Yeezys, I would say just the slides and the foam runners. The others, yeah, I'm not holding on to them. And the last topic to talk about, I was surprised how many of you guys asked this question. This is about Jerry Lorenzo. Some of you guys were asking, how is that gonna affect Nike? Is Nike gonna die and Adidas take over because Jerry Lorenzo moved over to Adidas? Hell no, guys. It seems like you guys think Jerry Lorenzo is like the next Yeezy or something. Like, he's not Yeezy, he's not Virgil. Like, when it comes to Jerry's sneakers, in my opinion, it seems like it's a very niche type of audience that actually appreciates his clothes. People who buy Fear of God shoes, they usually buy the entire outfit that goes along with it. So they'll wear the tapered pants, the sweatpants, the long tee, Nikes. I haven't seen anybody buy Fear of God shoes who weren't already into that whole Fear of God look. So I really do think it's a bit of a niche product. I think even Nike knew that. That's why they were willing to let him go. And over at Adidas, it looks like he is going to be heading the basketball sneaker design department. So no, I really don't see how Jerry Lorenzo making some basketball sneakers at Adidas is going to have any effect on Nike. In fact, Nike must have saw that contract that Adidas gave Jerry and thought, hey, you know what? You guys can keep them. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you found it useful, and let me know if you want to see more of these type of Q&A resale type of videos in the future. I would love to give you guys more of that if that's what you want. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. The handle is right here. It is at JDKick6. Definitely the easiest place to contact me, and that is where I drop most of these Q&As. And thank you guys for all the support from day one. You guys are the absolute best. Until next time, peace.